High school is crazy, but I'm here to help. Is to keep a small circle. How to make friends, go to events, toxic friends, red flags in the past. You don't want that in your life. Block them out of the blue or actively search for a relationship. Football season in high school. Maybe you're weird. I don't know. It's 4 years of my life. Honors and AP classes. I thought I was gonna die. I mean, I kind of did, but you have to ask for help. Take it seriously. Sophomore slump, but then I would gain some sense. And I found out my limits. Don't destroy yourself over bad grades. Be yourself. People change. It's gonna be okay. Alright, I cannot believe that I am already making this video, but here we are. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be advice for incoming freshmen or just high school advice in general because you guys are on me about the back to school videos. You guys really want them, and you know, I don't really want to make them in particular. That means school is coming, but there's a part of me that's a little bit excited for school. A little bit. I hate to admit it, but like I said, this video is going to be me giving you guys advice if you're an incoming freshman, an underclassman, even an upperclassman, a junior like me. Yes, I'm going to be a junior this year, which basically gives me UNC status for high school. So that's my credentials for this video. I've been through 2 years of high school. I am halfway done, which is crazy to say, and it's like kind of scaring me. High school is crazy, but I'm here to help. And before we start, I would love to give myself some credit because I made an entire Notion page to organize all my thoughts for this video. Maybe I am becoming a better YouTuber. Like, I'm actually doing things correctly, planning things out. Enough said, let's get into the high school advice. All right, so I split all of my advice into 4 topics: social life, extracurricular, academics, and general advice. And I have a lot to say, trust me. First things first, let's talk about social life. And what better way to start that by talking about friends. My biggest tip is to keep a small circle. That is my one rule with friends. A small circle is so much better than like a huge group of friends. Don't get me wrong, big groups of friends, you have fun, but if you want real close friends, you need a small circle. I always say quality over quantity when it comes to friends. On the topic of how to make friends, we're gonna talk about this later, but go to events, join clubs, do extracurriculars. Just, you have to immerse yourself in high school to make friends. And I hate to say this because I used to be shy, but you cannot be shy, especially on the first day or orientation. You kind of just got to be yourself. Your people will come, and it might not be immediately, but you'll find people, I promise. I said, don't be shy to talk to who you're sat next to in classes. Some of my best friends came from me being put in classes where I know not a single human being in there. I don't know a single one in there, and I'm sat next to 2 to 4 random people, and I decided to start talking to them. One of my closest friends from freshman year came from her sitting next to me and 2 other people, and we just started talking. I will never forget my freshman year art class. The teacher, the people, like, what an experience. Like, actually, you cannot downplay certain things. What am I trying to say? You kind of just have to live with everything you get. Some of the things that you think you'll hate, you actually end up loving and making the best memories out of. Don't knock anything till you try it. It's kind of lame, y'all. But also put down some conversation starters for y'all that are shy, because I know how it is. You could say things like, I know nobody in this class. You know, something to get the person next to you or in front of you, something to get their attention. And also just be friendly in general. Like, be approachable, don't be closed off with your body language. You could also say something like, hey, I think you were in my insert class or activity name. Even if they weren't, you could just make something up. Like I said, something to just get their attention and spark a conversation. Unless there's some weirdo who doesn't want to talk to anybody and gives you a weird look for trying to be nice. And the last thing I want to talk about for friends is toxic friends and how to deal with them. And if you're actually an incoming freshman, you'll know. If you're coming from middle school, you know toxic friends. You know how it is, because middle school is literally just so... what a horrible time. So first, you have to be able to spot them early. And some key things that I always use that have been red flags in the past are that their personality revolves around drama. This is just like, you don't want that in your life. Having a drama-free high school experience is nearly impossible, but you can avoid a lot of it. So much of it is unnecessary. They talk behind others' backs to you. This has been a big one. I've talked about this before in like several videos, but if they're talking behind somebody's back to you, what's stopping them from going to the next person and talking behind your back to that person? I hope that made sense. If it doesn't, listen to what I said again, girl. I don't know. And then finally, they don't support your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations. If they don't have any interest in what you're doing and what you want for your future, they don't seem like the nicest person if they don't support you. But after spotting these red flags, the next step would be slowly distancing yourself. And I mean slowly. Like, don't block an ad, do all that. That's gonna start unwanted, unnecessary drama. It always will, especially because you're confined to one building where you're probably gonna see each other every day. There's no need to block them out of the blue. Unless it's like extremely serious, slowly distance yourself. And I wanted to say that some of the red flags that I mentioned, when you're not in those situations, it's pretty obvious to you, like, oh, I'd recognize that. But when you're in a situation like that, it's really difficult to recognize the red flags and see what's actually happening. I want to talk about dating, but it's not my place at all. No credentials, I can tell you that. I perceive the dating realm of my school, you know? However, I will say, don't chase or actively search for a relationship. I feel like it should come to you. I don't know what I'm talking about. And then finally, events. So I'm talking sporting events like football, which football season in high school, that is a lot of people's favorite time of the year. It's my favorite time of the school year because the weather's still warm, but it's like transitioning into fall. Everybody's happy, the schoolwork isn't too difficult. It's just the best time of the school year, hands down. That and the end of the school year. It's just when everybody's happy. But like I said, go to the sporting event, football, basketball, volleyball, soccer, or if your friends play smaller sports or have like activities, go support them. My biggest pet peeve is when people act like they don't have any school spirit, or they think it's embarrassing to go to football games, things like that. They think they're too cool for all that. No, you can never have too much school spirit, and I am a firm believer in that. And some other events include pep rallies, homecoming, parades. If your school does all that stuff, go to them. Those are the things that make high school fun, not the schoolwork. Maybe the schoolwork is fun to you, maybe you're weird, I don't know. And my final words for the social life section are, high school is what you make it. It flies by, so make the most of it. Next section. I'm already losing my mind trying to talk all this. The next section is extracurriculars. Sports. So I said to try something new. High school is all about exploring yourself and potentially building your future. I know a lot of people that their sport is taking them far. It would have never been that way if they never would have tried this sport in the first place. And I also know tons of people who double or even triple up on sports. It's difficult and it requires so much time management, especially if you're gonna be a student athlete, emphasis on the student, like where you actually apply yourself to school while being an athlete. That is very, very difficult. And sports aren't for everyone. There's so many other extracurriculars that you could do, like clubs. You can join culture clubs, art clubs, environmental clubs, or literally anything that interests you. And if there isn't something that interests you, make a club. I'm actually planning on starting a club this school year. I'm so nervous, but I think it's gonna turn out pretty well. Stay tuned for all the school vlogs. And then you can also do things like student council, class office, or like any leadership role that your school offers. I am involved in both student council and class office, so, you know, I like to be involved. I don't feel like I'm bored the whole time. That's like my whole big thing with high school. I wanna make the most of it. It's 4 years of my life. But in these like leadership positions and things like that, you get to plan school-wide events, meet new people, and gain experience. And my final words on extracurriculars are another big factor in what makes high school fun. It may take tons of trial and error, but don't be afraid to find yourself. Am I motivational or what? Okay, also peep the new necklace. Real cute, real cute. All right, the next section is academics. Honors and AP classes. They're difficult depending on the class, but I think it's always possible. I know for myself personally, this past year, aka sophomore year, I was told that a lot of the classes I was taking were really difficult. I thought I was gonna die. I mean, I kind of did, but I made it through with all A's too. 4.0 GPA going strong. I really think anything is possible if you set your mind to it academically. And I also want to say that it is essential that you ask for help. You have to ask for help. That's what the teachers are there for. I would not be where I am without asking for help. And also manage your time well. Time management is like such an essential skill for high school. I think high school is the busiest I've ever been in my entire life, but I love it. I love being a busy person. I also want to talk about studying. There are a couple specific study methods that I want to tell you all about. Spaced repetition, active recall, and then the Pomodoro method. You know, I'm not going to explain it. Google is free, but I also want to say that you need to have like a designated study space, or spaces, plural, because I have my desk, the kitchen island downstairs, our dining table. There's like a lot of lock-in spots that I have. Just don't make it your bed, because there's science behind doing work in your bed and how it like messes with how your body falls asleep. I mean, I'm probably not the person to be preaching this because it's kind of hypocritical for me to be saying this, but don't do work in your bed. These are like basic and very commonly used methods for studying, but they're so effective. And I also wanted to discuss each year of high school. So for freshman year, I know a lot of you guys watching are incoming freshmen. Take it seriously. I cannot stress this enough. So many people think, oh, I'm just a freshman, like nothing matters. No, it's your foundation for your grades. But at the same time, you need to have fun as well because you're only a freshman once. I didn't understand that at the time. I was complaining all the time, stressing myself out over the littlest things. You will be so dramatic freshman year. Like I was complaining about everything, and then I became a sophomore and everything got 10 times worse. Speaking of, sophomore slump is so real. I started sophomore year talking about it in the vlogs and things like that. I was like, I'm so scared, sophomore slump. I was kind of joking about it, and then it started hitting like a week in, and then a month in, I was like, wow, really bad. 2 months in, 3 months in. Okay. Third quarter hit. Boom. I have never been so unmotivated. I don't want to get out of bed, and I don't want to scare you guys. Obviously, I made it. I'm alive, girl. Like, I'm alive, like literally. But sophomore year was an insane jump from freshman year because I feel like a lot of schools don't prepare sophomores while they're freshmen. They baby them, they coddle them, especially my school because we have a separate building for freshmen. It's a whole ordeal that I don't want to get into right now. And there were moments where it would get better and then it would get worse again. And then I saw the light at the end of the tunnel and then put a blindfold over my eyes so I couldn't see anything. And then I would like start running the opposite direction of the light, but then I would gain some sense, take off the blindfold, go towards the light, and then the sun would set and then there's no more light. Okay, I'm done, I promise. It's just a very up and down. Sophomore slump is real. And I also want to say lock in when necessary, which is really often. And then also challenge and push yourself. I pushed myself so hard sophomore year and I'm so grateful for it because now I am who I am and I found out my limits. And for upperclassmen, I don't know. We gotta experience it first. But I will say I'm going in with a very positive mindset. I've been having fun though, I promise. I keep saying all these things, but I'm really just being dramatic. Final words on academics. Obviously, super important. Don't destroy yourself over bad grades, bad anything that happens academically. You live and you learn. And my final category is general advice. I have 3 big bullet points. These are like big takeaways. If you don't want to take anything else away from this video, I would suggest you follow these 3 bullet points. The first one is be yourself. Cannot stress this enough. Just be yourself. Don't try to change yourself and be somebody you're not. Don't change yourself for anybody. Be true to yourself. You'll thank yourself later if you do. Don't change yourself for a boy, a girl, a friend, a teacher. I don't know, just personally, I wouldn't let anybody shake who I am. The second one is people change. It's just that simple. You're most likely gonna grow apart from old friend groups, old friends, things that you love, things that they love. Everybody's growing. I feel like this is the most growing you'll do in a short period of time in your whole life. And my final point is, even though these things happen, you will be okay. No matter how scared you really are, it's gonna be okay. At the end of the day, it's not that serious. It is that serious, but you're a teenager. I'm trying to sound so like philosophical, smart, charismatic. I'm none of those things. And some final words on my general advice. This is 4 years of your life. Anything that happens now will most likely not matter once you walk the stage. But that is all the things I could come up with. Now what I want to do is check my Instagram. I posted a little questionnaire for you guys to respond to, and we're gonna answer some questions about advice for high school. All right, here it is. How do you balance academic and social life, living in the present moment at all times? This is actually one of my big things about high school as well. I think living in the moment is so important. That's why I like filming my whole life, because I want to have something to look back on. But how do I balance it all? I really don't know. You kind of like make time. Like there's 24 hours in a day, but you can make it like 32. No, but seriously, good time management, a little lack of sleep, it really depends, you know? I can definitely attest to that. Going into freshman year, how do you get motivated to work after like first quarter? I don't know if I've talked about this before on my channel, but I am a very big believer in intrinsic motivation. I don't know how to really put it into words, but it's something I live by. And also, I'm more motivated by the fact that if I don't turn in the assignment or do my work, that I will inevitably fail. What is the biggest tip you'd give academics-wise? I think you have to apply yourself. Even when the class gets so boring and you're literally like falling asleep while the teacher is talking, you kind of just have to snap yourself back into it. Be like, do I want this that bad? You'll find the intrinsic motivation. See what I did there? And you'll clock in. There were moments this past year where I really didn't want to do my work, but I realized that I want to have a big future. A lot of you guys are asking me about motivation, but I think a lot of motivation can come from having short-term, long-term goals and aspirations. Just in short terms, dream big. When do I start? I start, I think, the 18th of August, so we have like 2.5 weeks. I don't know if I'm ready to be back in that building. How to beat school air, how do I serve absolute baddie, how to pull. I got you. One of my biggest things is to have like a little hygiene pouch, or just have like a pocket in your backpack to have a bunch of little mini hygiene essentials. Nothing too crazy, you know. You could just have like a little mini bottle of perfume. You could also have a roll-on perfume. I know my friend has one of those. Make sure you always have Aquaphor or Vaseline on you. I used to carry pimple patches during freshman and a little bit of sophomore year when my acne was really bad. Maybe a hairbrush if you think you need one. Also, never be afraid to just go to the bathroom to fix your hair, splash some water on your face, wake yourself up a little bit. Just always be prepared for like anything. And also, beating school air is kind of a mindset. You know, sometimes I believe it. Sometimes I'm like, wow, the school air is really getting to me today. Like I'm so chopped, I'm chuzz, I'm unk, like No, serving baddie, you know, pulling, it's all about confidence. You just have to be confident in yourself and wear what you like as well. Clothing for me, unless you have a uniform, oops. Clothing for me is so special, especially in school. Like, school is my personal runway. Should I focus on having fun and enjoying high school or try and focus on my GPA? Both. There is time for both. Is waking up early a hard habit to gain? For me, yes. For some people I know it's not, but waking up early is difficult, but it's also so rewarding. How good are those V8 energy drinks? Real good. You're gonna see me with one every single day of I almost just said sophomore year. Oh my god. Oh, I'm not a sophomore. You will see me with a V8 probably every single day of junior year, just like you saw me with a V8 every single day of sophomore year. How do you manage mental health throughout the school year? I've kind of danced around the subject a little bit, but mental health is so important to me during the school year, especially because school during the winter can get really rough, especially to people who get seasonal depression. Personally, I like to journal, keep myself in check, and I always like to reach out to my friends. Hanging out with friends and loved ones is probably my biggest solution. Any tips on getting up in the morning? I always just want to go right back to sleep. You know, I don't think this is the question for me. I am going to work on it junior year very hard, but that is all the questions I'm going to answer from you guys. I'm so happy that you guys had so many questions for me, but thankfully I answered a lot of them in my personal advice part. Thank you guys so much for watching me blab about hopefully some useful advice. Let me know in the comments if you actually thought it was useful. A lot of you guys liked my advice video last year, so hopefully, you know, my continued advice was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I love you so much. Have a decent day and goodbye. Good luck in school, y'all.